Okay, let's go ahead and sit in with a new game that we've gotten in just recently. This is the Liberarion of Reitburg, which is a Legend of Andor series game. Unlike some of the other Legend of Andor games, this one is more card-based. We're going to go ahead and explain the entire game concept to you, show you the components, and what's out there. So it comes with a small board. We just got places to go ahead and put your quests, which are placed upside down. It's got a place to go ahead and put fiendish beasts that guard the quests. And includes your great heroes of Andor, which, as always, are on their good standees, each one having their own specific rules to them as well, including our wizard with the spell book, our druid with the giant water sprite, our dwarf with his axe, our mighty fighter, our archer who has access to all the quivers of arrows, and our great warrior. Each one is different. Each one has their own special abilities. We'll go through that in a second. So components of the game, you have your characters. Each character comes with action cards. The action card gives you 3 different options on play. So when it's your turn for that character to go, he will either use one of the options that are there. In this case, he will move, and he may attack with 4 might. In this case, he can reveal a card that is face down. And here he can move and gain 1 vigor. These are vigor tokens. These can be added to the might of the player. And that's how those cards work. Let's go ahead and take a look. On the quest cards, there will be a quest card in every location. Those quest cards will have a quest that you need to go ahead and fulfill. Once you've fulfilled 4 quests, you've won the game. The thing is, you don't know what the quests are because it's a random deck, and a fairly sizable one, and you can't even get to the quest until after you've defeated all the monsters that sit on top of it. And monsters will add up. Along with the monsters, you will also get magical items. Here we go, magical items. So you don't know if you've got a monster or a magical item. So, in the essence of play, when setting up their game, you start off by placing your quests. Each quest gets a random encounter card on top of it. And then you will go ahead and use the narrator deck. Now, if you've played Legends of Andor before, you know the narrator deck is a dangerous thing because as it comes out, it'll be in order and more nasty things will happen to you while you're playing. In this case, the narrator deck is not in any specific order. It is actually shuffled. And as you pull cards from the narrator deck, it will tell you what to do with the cards. In this case here, it says, you hear a loud rumbling coming from inside Brandor's tower. A creature rushes outside. This means that you find Brandor's tower, which in this case is Area 4, which is here. You take a creature card, and you put it face up. Then you do the second one. It must be a dangerous creature that has taken up residence in the dungeon. So far, it has remained out of sight. In this case, you will go to the dungeon, which is Area 5, which is here. It will be a face-down monster. You would do this 6 times in the initial setup. So there are at least that many monsters on the table. As play moves on, when it's turn for the player to go, and we will go ahead and use Crag, because Crag is always my personal favorite to play with. I would choose, he would be starting here, I would choose what I want to do with Crag. So any one of the 3 cards I will use. In this case, I would go ahead and utilize Crag to move and turn over a card. So Crag will move from the gatehouse. He will move here, because he can move anywhere he wants to, because a single move is to any location. And then this means flip over a card. You cannot interact with a card until it has been flipped over. So I flip over the card, and it is a Flugor, which means it merely has a 1 power. But it has a 1 power for every other Flugor on the game. So now there's 2, the Flugor has a power of 2. This card is now discarded. I can't use it again. On my next turn, as things go around, I would go ahead and utilize this card to attack the Flugor. He would be defeated because my 5 plus my axe exceeds his 2, which is himself plus that 1. Once he's discarded, he'll go into a separate pile at the bottom, because these piles are important to get things later on. And we would reveal the quest. In this case, Brandor's Honor Guard is the quest. You're allowed to have no more than 4 encounter cards at each of the 6 locations. So once you have discovered this, if you have no more than 4 encounter cards, 1, 2, 1, 2 there, 2 there, so no more than 4, that quest would be completed. This is an abbreviated version, so this looks a lot easier than it will be. The quest is completed, it will go into our quest. Once we've gotten some more quests done, then the game will be over. You're playing with other players. Now, I used up the 2nd card. At any time, I can either use my 3rd card on my next turn, or I can go ahead and refresh. If I refresh, I get all these cards back in my hand, and we put out 1 narrator card for each person who's playing. Assume we have 3 people playing, which means there'll be 3 encounter cards that will have it. This one here says we'll have a face-up monster encounter in Area 4, which is the tower. And here, another face-down card in the dungeon. This gives us a face-up card in Area 6, which I believe is the gate. And a face-up card in the area where the active player is. And the final one, no one anticipated Reitburg Castle would be stormed by dark forces when the heroes had left. Now, starting with the outer tower, everything is falling into the clutches of the creatures. So, a face-up card in 3, which is the outer tower, which is there, and a face-down card in the dungeon. You can see this can build up quickly. And your characters only have your 3 actions. There are ways to get more than 3 actions. If you can find a magic item, that magic item can also be played as an action. So it gives you a little bit more time before you have to refresh your cards. You can also get allies. The game is full of allies. Each ally has his own special ability. Each ally will go ahead and be played as an action. So by adding allies and magic items to your hand, you've basically increased. So you're looking at kind of a deck building type aspect of the game, although it is not a true deck builder where you're starting with nothing and adding to it. Again, you could win the game and play the game without adding a single card, but there are cool cards to go ahead and add. Once you've finished 4 quests, you've completed the game, it's over. Replayability on the game is excellent because there are so many different quests. There are so many character combinations. It's a game for 2 to 4 players. As you can see, we've started off with 6 players, 6 characters. Each one with a standard standee. Looks pretty cool on there. You'll be able to figure out where you're at. The monsters are very Andor-esque. If you've ever played any of the Andor games, you'll enjoy that. And you can add up with special rules that are added to each one of the characters.